What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also. They asked me to put it up, so I put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. But this video is entitled Blaming Them or Blaming Others but Not Yourself. Listen. There comes a point in life where we don't want to take a good hard look at ourselves and our decisions and our choices. And at a certain point, we're pointing the finger at other people for stuff that we're doing to ourselves. You know, there's some things that we're responsible for. You know, take into consideration your health is your responsibility, right? So ultimately, everything you eat and drink, you're putting into your mouth. So you're choosing what you're going to eat and what you're going to drink. So if you're choosing to eat bad or drink bad things, and you're blaming, oh, but it's just so good. Okay. You can't, but you act like you don't understand the concept of moderation. Because if you wind up overweight because of the food you eat, or you wind up too drunk because of the things you drink, whose fault is that? Well, you gonna blame everybody else around you, because if you go eat out, you drove to the restaurants, right? You looked at the menu, you picked the things that were gonna make you gain weight faster than the healthy things, and you ordered them, you paid for them, you ate them. So you can't blame them for giving you what you asked for, right? You went to the bar, you asked for those drinks, you paid for those drinks, you tipped for those drinks. So how are you blaming people for how those situations end? You're blaming other people, blaming others, but not yourself, right? When it comes to, your self-agency, I understand the white man has got his foot on your neck for your life and your dreams, right? I get that. But the effort or lack of effort that you're putting in to your own life is your responsibility. So if you're not trying to succeed, that has nothing to do with outside forces. That's what you're not doing, right? You're not putting yourself out there. You're not competing. You know what I mean? So what are you responsible for? Whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that when you get up in the morning, you're not putting your best foot forward? Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that you're not trying to be successful every day? Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that you feel internally so defeated that you quit trying? And somebody else needs to be responsible for making you try, or needs to try for you. It's not how it works, right? So if you're blaming others for your lack of enthusiasm, or your lack of ambition, or your lack of drive, but you're not blaming yourself, you're in charge of those things, right? So who we blaming here? People, we date, we interact, we get in relationships with people, and we blame the other person. But you know, you chose to be in a relationship with that person. You know, the things that were red flags in the beginning, for the most part, some are connected to the red flags of why it ended. So they may be a lot of different things, but these are things that you had already accepted that they were. You might have gotten tired of them being that way. You know, those antics might have worn out their welcome with you, but you didn't. But how many people could say it was a bait and switch, and versus you was just hoping that this person was gonna be more considerate to you in a relationship? Which one was it? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that's the question. You know, because you blaming them for the person that you chose. You blaming them for who you fell in love with, right? You blaming them for who you kind of, how can I say this? Who you slept with, basically. So how is it their fault? You know, at the end of the day, how is it their fault? Because what happens when you start choosing the same type of person over and over and over and over again? If you know, they may look different, they may dress different, but they have the same characteristics. So if you fall in love with the same characteristics over and over and over again, and these are the same characteristics that you're complaining about that are not conducive to what you felt like is your life, then you're blaming others for what you're attracted to. And who can change what you're attracted to other than yourself? You know what I'm saying? So that's you know, when you blame other people for things that's going on with you, it doesn't really, you know, it really don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? And then taking into consideration that, say, how can I say this? You might make decisions that may sabotage you. May it be impulsive decisions, whether they be financial decisions or business decisions or sexual decisions. You know, you just get caught up in the moment and you make a rash judgment, like real quick. Now that judgment comes back to bite you, right? Comes back to bite you in the ass. So what happens then? You know, whose fault is it that you made that? Because what you may have wanted that moment, you wanted it so badly that moment that it put you in a bad position for a longer period of time than that moment. You get what I'm saying? So whose fault is that? Like, was it the commercial that enticed you? Was it marketing's fault? Was it advertising's fault? You know, did they you know, drum up a feeling in you that you just couldn't control? You know, or you just got horny, you couldn't control it, you know, and you had to have sex and you just forgot to protect yourself because you just wanted it so bad, and now you're mad because whatever happened in that situation. You never know, you know, what that could be. But that's the thing. Like, whose fault is that? You know, because if it's an impulse decision, it's your impulse decision, right? So if you blame other people for, you made me feel this way and then I did this, you're still not taking responsibility for the thing that you actually chose to do. You get what I'm saying? So it's a lot of impulse. You know, America is like a fast food environment, and it's an impulsive environment anyway. So that's the thing about it. Like, we live in a country that just, you know, that's constantly selling you something. And one of the things that we're selling in this country is lack of accountability. So that's weird, but it is the truth. Like, you know, we live in a place where I can blame you for the decision that I made and act like I had nothing to do with my own choice. You tricked me into choosing what I was choosing by making it available, and I just couldn't help myself. You know, which makes absolutely no sense, but that's what it is at this particular point. So, you know, just asking the questions. I'm done with this one. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all the next round. Peace.